I'm going to be showing y'all how to make one of my favorite things on the Hasty-Bake grill, smoked acorn squash. Now the acorn squash is kind of a goofy looking little vegetable or a legume. It's like an acorn, but it's green. What I'm going to do with this, guys, I'm going to core it out, stuff it with some butter and brown sugar, and smoke it. You can either serve it as a side dish, or I often like to serve it as a dessert. So you can actually provide everything on the Hasty-Bake, including dessert. Now I encourage you to get frisky with your seasonings. I'm going to give you a very basic recipe to go by. Feel free to add cinnamon or nutmeg, maybe a little cayenne pepper. Do anything you want to spruce this up. This is a great recipe. Acorn squash can be found almost year-round depending on your region. It's pretty cheap and it has a really great flavor. Kind of a texture of pumpkin pie and the flavor of acorn squash, butter, and brown sugar. So start off with our good old acorn squash. I try to pick one with a fairly flat, non-pointed end. Take a sharp knife and try to square off the end here so that it will set flat. Just going to cut off a little bit of the stalk and some of the other pieces. Kind of checking out to make sure it'll set pretty flat. Just need just a little bit more off of there. Sounds like that'll set pretty flat. All right. Now inside of it, it has membrane and seeds, just like a pumpkin does. So I'm going to take it and cut off the pointed end. All right. You can see here, cut off the pointed end. Has a nice little core inside it. Take all that stuff and just like a pumpkin when you were a kid, scoop all the gooey stuff out. Now if you didn't cut down far enough to get your hand in there, you can take another little slice off of there so you can get your hand in there and actually be able to get all that stuff out. Now, if you don't feel like firing up your Hasty-Bake, you could also do this recipe in the oven. It doesn't have quite the flavor that it does on the Hasty-Bake, but that's where the recipe is actually adapted from, is a in-home, in-the-oven recipe. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to take the better part of a softened stick of butter. Those of you on a low-fat diet, don't pay attention to this part. Probably 3/4 of a stick of real deal butter. And stuff it down inside there. Next I'm going to take my brown sugar and begin to fill it up. You get some brown sugar in there, pack it down, and continue filling with more brown sugar. Now pack it full. I put the butter in first, because once it cooks, the butter is going to be light. It's going to float to the top. Sugar is going to be heavy and sink to the bottom. So this way they kind of change places. It lets me know where the acorn squash is in its process. It begins to kind of mix the two flavors together. Take it, pack it down. Make sure you get all the brown sugar in there you can. And I like to put just a little bit of extra across the top. All right, all you have to do with this acorn squash is just prep it like this and put it on your Hasty-Bake grill. Cook it indirectly using the heat deflector or off to the side away from the items you're grilling. It'll typically take about 1 hour and 45 to 3 hours, depending on the size of the acorn squash and what temperature you're running at, to be able to get done. You'll know that it's finished whenever the flesh of the acorn squash is actually soft. It's still very, very firm right now. When it gets really, really soft where you can easily cut into it with a fork or a spoon, it's done. I'll then take these guys off. Be careful not to spill the liquid inside. And set it inside a foil pan or a bowl. Let it rest for a good 10 or 15 minutes because it's too hot to touch. Once it rests for a while, take yourself a spoon and carve off the flesh, mix it with the butter and brown sugar, and enjoy it. We're going to put this guy on the Hasty-Bake and we'll show it here in just a little bit. All right. We cored our squash, took all of the seeds out of the inside, filled it with butter and brown sugar, and smoked it until the flesh was soft. Take my knife here, check and see. Oh yeah. All I'll do is take it, move all the flesh to the middle, and stir it up. Makes for a tasty dessert or a really good side to go with any good barbecue.